You're listening to the Lads Talking Footy podcast, brought to you by TBC Live. Download the app from the Google Play or App Store and start making your predictions and bantering with mates as of today. Like and subscribe to us down below. Leave a question in the comments section and we will answer it on the next show. If you're a dabbler, give us a follow on the Dabble app, Lads Talking Footy. We'll be putting all of our bets up on there, backed by stats. So let's get dabbling with the lads. Brought to you, as always, by myself and Big T, Mr. Tana, Shades On. What's up, mate?
Sammy, those are some really nice words. I'd like to thank you for coming to this service here today. Today's service will be in honor of the Warriors' finals hopes. As you guys all know, that when you lose by 50, your finals hopes are no longer, let alone losing by 60 to the, I think at the time, last place team on the table. So condolences, Warriors fans. Condolences to us. And it's with a heavy heart that I regrettably have to write the Warriors out of all championship hopes. That's our service.
Brutal
We'll get into
stuff.
the actual show now.
Got the formalities out of the way. I mean, you're right. No team that has conceded 50 points throughout the regular season has gone on to win the competition. Hey, there's a first for everything, man. No team had ever come down from 3-1. The LeBron Cleveland Cavaliers ended up taking that. And that was by the Golden State Warriors. I guess that was on the receiving end, maybe an omen there or something, but we'll see what happens. Do you want to take us through accountability? It's going to be a hell lot of red on this one.
Yeah, it is a bit dusty, but we just need a picture to come out, back to your previous point, of Sean Johnson with the shades on, with the headphones in, saying no team has ever won a premiership after losing by more than 50. And then, boom, the meme will go viral and he'll get it done. He'll get it done for the Warriors. I've got faith again. I've just completely flipped. Something that loses a little bit of faith for us is the picks this week. I've not done too bad on the head-to-heads. I've gone 3 from 5. You've unfortunately gone 1 from 5. But the best bets are dusty for both of us, man. Starts actually out with a win for me, but it just goes Reds from there. Storm beats the Dolphins 30-24. I've gone Storm head-to-head into total points over 46.5, which has come through.
Yeah, and I've gone Osako first, second, or third at $4. We go down there. I ended up scoring, just not in that bracket.
And then the game we were, doing our funeral for, the absolute shocker, the Titans, 66, believe it or not, 66, beat the Warriors to 6. So devil numbers there, talking about omens. I've gone Warriors head-to-head, definitely not. But total points over, 46.5, which the Titans did themselves, but it is still a miss.
Yeah, and I've gone AFB into Fafita at $10.25. We go down there, the Warriors never looked like scoring in that one.
And then the Roosters beating the Bulldogs 26-8. I thought it was going to be a close game. I've gone Roosters 1-12, which is missed.
Yeah, and I've ended up going Dom Young, Blake Wilson, and Matty Burden, all to score at $10.75, and we go down there.
And then, bit of a dusty game, 14-0, the Rabbitohs beating the Seagulls. I've actually just covered that line with the latest try by the Rabbitohs. Rabbitohs minus 10.5 has come through.
Yeah, and I've ended up going Luke Brooks and Cody Walker both to score at $12.50. We go down there.
And then finally, absolute try-fest in the last game of the round. Tigers beating the Raiders 48-24 to stave off, I'm not going to say a comeback, but a little bit of sketchy moments in the last 20 minutes. I've gone Raiders minus 6.5, which definitely has my hope.
Yeah, and I've gone Savage Strange, Raiders 13 plus at $11.50. I doubled that one. Absolute shocker. As for the repeat sets, I ended up going Savage first, second, or third at $3.40. We fall down there. And for the 40-20s, I went Wishart, Strange, which both scored, but Lukey Brooks lets us down there. That was $49.31. That's a shame to go down.
Probably would have made up for all the other X's for the week. So really unlucky miss there by Lukey Brooks. Sticking with the theme of riding the Raiders hard at pause, I've gone Raiders head-to-head in my repeat set bet, which hasn't hit. And then we were talking about the 40-20 bet of mine last week and how I was thinking about just going Niokora anytime try scorer. Well, that actually hasn't even come through. It was actually the little juicer that came through in the Raiders head-to-head. So pair them up and they both miss. So 40-20.
Yeah, brutal week, man. Went -7 units on that one, which brings my total current units for the season down to 54.6.
Yeah, and as for me, I've also had a minus here. I've got -3.65. So, yeah, dusty week.
Yeah, dusty week. As for the Telegram recap, I haven't managed to get the numbers through on that one. But like I said earlier, follow us on the Dabble app if you are a dabbler over here in the AU, because we will be putting our stats backed by each bet in the bet description. So hoping to get that going over here. One question for you before we get into the power plays and performances of the round. It has been revealed that the incoming South Sydney head coach, Wayne Bennett, told the veteran hooker Damien Cook not to re-sign with the club. Cook has been squeezed out of the club after they were unwilling to offer him more than the 1-year deal proposed. The 33-year-old has signed a 2-year deal with the Dragons starting in 2025. We saw South Sydney make this mistake with Adam Reynolds, unwilling to sign older players on slightly longer deals. They did re-ink Cody Walker just last season, I believe, but do you think they're potentially going to have made a mistake again and not bringing Cook back on a 2-year deal when they're obviously going to be chasing a premiership window with Wayne? He's found some great form as of late. What do you think about the decision from the Rabbitohs to invest in the youth, but with the older players that they've got at the moment and bringing Wayne in?
Yeah, I think it is a little interesting because, like you said, Damien Cook has been in pretty good form lately. And I think he has shown glimpses that he hasn't taken a step back. You would suggest from maybe the results of the Rabbitohs and maybe him getting snubbed from Origin selection that he has taken a step back, but he still looks, to me anyway, he still looks just as dangerous around the ruck, and his leg speed still looks really good in open field. He still looks like a real threat. It's just maybe, with age comes injuries, and he is looking a little bit sketchy on the missed tackle front at the moment, I've been noticing this year. But other than that, man, he is still an electric hooker out of that ruck. So unless they have some real confidence in the guys coming through, I know Mamazoulis has been getting decent minutes this year, kind of almost sharing them with Damien Cook at times. But I still haven't seen enough from him to say he is the next Damien Cook or he is a successor to Damien Cook. So maybe they have the trust in him. Maybe they have someone coming through in the junior grades or in the New South Wales Cup grades. But I think it is a bit of a loss for the Rabbitohs because he has been a stalwart of that Rabbitohs franchise for quite a few years now, and he's been in good form for them all through that time. So, yeah, they'll miss him at the Rabbitohs. Great pickup, though, for the Dragons. He's kind of like a like-for-like player to Little, but almost a slight upgrade with just a little bit faster and a little bit more threat through the ruck. And he is maybe less injury-prone than Little. Little struggles to stay on the field throughout long periods of the season. So I like this for the Dragons, and another good signing for them as their club seems to turn around this dark period they've been going through.
Yeah, it's a real good pickup for the Dragons. I like that you brought that up. And I do agree with the youth coming through for South Sydney. I've been impressed with Mamazalis and what I've seen from him, but it's a little bit different once you reach that playoff type of gravy. And I know Wayne will obviously bring the best out of him and the youth that's coming through. We saw what he did with Ilias in his last year there, but I just thought it was a bit of a confusing one to pull trigger on Cookie just yet. I mean, I guess you don't know what's going to happen in that 2-year window as he gets older, as the legs go out from underneath him. But he's not playing representative football at the moment, so his body's not taking that heat at the moment and backing it up. So it was a little bit confusing if you're going to be re-inking Cody Walker. I know they've brought the young half in there to the club, and it'll be interesting to see what they do with him and Whiten, but was an interesting call just to let go of Damien Cook. And I think he's found some good form as of late, and it was a bit confusing for the news to get broken straight away. We're going to move into the power plays of the round, though. I'll start us off in this one. I've got Jarrell Skelton's shot on Polgar. He had a fantastic game in this one, a bucket loads of stats, but that jam that he put in on the opposing centre was just absolutely textbook. 6'3", 104 kilos, of just bulldog dog rattling Polgar. I'm surprised he actually stayed out on the field because it looked like he felt every single one of those ribs on his left-hand side in his stomach. He was not looking in a very good way, and what an absolute powerful shot from him.
Yeah, man, that was a great hit. Dare I say it was George Taufua-esque, the way he came in as a big winger and put that shot right on him. It wasn't on Polgar, too, because that is interesting. It seems like Polgar was out for revenge a bit later in the game. We might get to that later in the grub of the week. But Yeah, fantastic hit from Skelton. He is a beast of a man on that wing, and hopefully we get to see him with a few more reps for that Bulldogs team. In terms of my power play, I've gone kind of not a sentimental one, but a one that feels good to see in the top grade again, and that was Adam Dewey's intercept try to seal the game against the Raiders for the Tigers. And the game wasn't really in doubt, but the Raiders were really making a red-hot surge, scoring 3 tries in 10 minutes. And with 8 minutes to go, they were looking to make what could have been a miraculous comeback. But Adam Dewey reads the play, gets the intercept, and still has the legs after all the injuries he has suffered over the recent years to just evade weeks for the game-winning try, game-sealing try, I should say. And it's just good to see him still moving all right in a bit of open space. That would be good for the confidence as well. So shout out Adam Dewey. It's good to see him back on the pitch and in a bit of good form.
Yeah, for sure. He was moving well, and I'm excited to see what he has to bring for this Tiger squad in that centre position as well. And it's just always a feel-good story. I know it hits back home a little bit, I guess, for us when we're sitting there holding our knees on the couch, and you can see him still out there carving it up, and it's good to see. And he just signed the one-year extension with the Tigers as well, so yeah, keep building out there and look out for West, man. Those young boys and the experience are starting to build something a little bit. As for performances of the round, there were plenty of top performance in this one. This one might catch you by surprise a little bit. For me, I'm going the veteran JWH. It's not the stats. He had 6 tackle breaks, 131 run meters, and 30 tackles, but every single one of those tackles stuck. He was leading from the front in a pack with some young stars coming through it. But the veteran 300 gamer was just out there ripping and tearing for the Roosters in very, very wet conditions. And we've seen the Bulldogs move packs around like this, big mobile packs. They move them from side to side and they're able to gain momentum. Different kind of kettle of fish when you're in the wet conditions. That was out there and he was lapping it up in the middle. Every single one of his shots was sticking. He was out there running amok through it all and it was great to see. So JWH, my performance of the round.
Yeah, I was a little bit confused for a second. I thought we were doing grub of the round already, but no, we're at performance, and I totally agree, man. JWH he's outstanding for a guy who he's the second oldest technically in the whole entire league, but he is the oldest regular starter in the whole entire league, and he's still playing at a very high level in that front row, which is a very physically demanding position. So shout out JWH. He is fantastic. Also, I've heard he is a very good golfer, like former national champion for New Zealand, apparently. So
he'd have a hell of a drive on him.
That's really surprising to me as well. Yeah, he probably sends that longer in meters than he has games in the NRL. So yeah, JWH, very surprising athlete. Someone that is also a surprising athlete and more of a pint-sized package. I'm going back-to-back weeks, man, because Keanu Kinney, Rosmini boys, stand up, bro, because Keanu Kinney has been absolutely outstanding. 2 tries, 249 run meters, 3 line breaks, 1 try assist, 6 tackle breaks. He is just one of the most electric players in the competition as of the last 2 weeks, man. He is crazy at the moment. And it is crazy to think that NRL clubs passed on this guy because he was too small. And now we talked about last week how this next generation of fullback is a little bit smaller when you look around the league in terms of these young guys. He is like the leader of that new prototype, the way he's been playing the last couple of weeks. It's like him and Fa'alogo are like the ideal prototypes of that sort of player, and they've been playing fantastic. Some of the highlights in this game that he just lit up for me was right before halftime, gets that cut ball, splits the defense, flicks it on the inside back for Verrills for his try. 53rd minute, gets the backdoor off right side shape. Just way too quick for the D. That is a reoccurring theme for these small guys. They're just so quick. Their leg speed is so good. And he crossed to score there. And then finally in the 68th minute, another cut play where he splits the D, this time untouched because the Warriors were no doubt a bit tired after conceding 50-odd points. And then just goes one-on-one with CNK, burning him on the outside. Fantastic stuff from Keanu Kinney. Slowly becoming one of my favorite fullbacks in the comp because he is outstanding.
Yeah, he's really burst onto the scene. We talked about it last week, that clusterfuck that the Titans have really got at the back position. It's going to be interesting what they do with the fullback coming back from injury. His name's escaped me at the moment. He really shouldn't have. Shout out to...
Brimson?
Yeah, AJ Brimson. It'll be interesting to see what they do with him when he comes back. As for his young teammate out there as well, just shine a little bit of light on Jaden Campbell. He actually set a new club record scoring the most points as well for the Titans in that one. Looked really, really good at the 5'8" position. As we move into the Dally M lad points, this is what we do every single week. Name off 3 points, 2 points, 1 points for performances from the round, and we'll see if we can predict the Dally M winner through our predictions. Collecting 3 points, like you said earlier, Keanu Kinney, fantastic. 2 tries, 1 try assist, 6 tackle breaks, and 249 run meters. Collecting 2 points, Jerome Hughes, the Kiwi man. 1 try, 2 try assists, 4 tackle breaks, 94 run meters, and 455 kicking meters. He's playing absolutely out of his skin this year for the Storm. No Munster, and they're not missing a beat without him. Collecting 1 point, though, is Lockie Galvin. 2 tries, 1 try assist, 4 tackle breaks, 187 run meters, and 141 kick meters. Hell of a game to bounce back from just saying that you wanted to leave the club. So fantastic stuff out there from him, and hopefully he does stay. Do you want to take us through the grub of the week, mate?
Yeah, grub of the week. I mentioned him earlier, and that's Junior Palga for his hit on Connor Tracy, just absolutely taking his head off and getting sent from the field immediately with no explanation from the ref. Because when you're knocking the guy clean out with a straight forearm shiver to the chin, there doesn't really need to be any explanation why you're getting sent off. And you had a good chirp in our group chat saying that the tackle practice at the Roosters training must be crazy, because you look at the backs this year for the Roosters, they know how to take someone's head off and get sent from the field. Dom Young did that in the first game against the Bulldogs, taking, I believe, Blake Taft's head off, knocking him out cold. Joseph Sawali in the 8th minute of Origin last time takes Reece Walsh's head clean off. So Roosters really struggling not to be headhunters out there and staying on the field, because crazy coincidence that all three are Roosters backs. And I don't think I remember another send-off happening this year. It's just been those guys doing high tackles, right?
Yeah, as far as it jogs my memory, it's all Chook City out there.
Yeah. So crazy stuff there. Junior Polga, well done. You're the grub of the week this week.
All right. It's State of Origin time. Game 2. We're going to go through the squads, break down what we're excited about, what we sort of see the differences between each teams. Stay tuned on our stories as we lead up to this. Obviously, I'm living in Melbourne. I'll be going to the Levels podcast dinner tomorrow night with GI, Willie Mason, and Justin Horror, doing a big talk show, photo shoot and everything. So I'll flick up a few videos on that. Then obviously at the game, I'll be doing some live stuff, and then stay tuned for a bit of content from afterwards. As for the odds, though, all of these are accurate as of Monday. New South Wales take on Queensland at the MCG on Wednesday night. Queensland are $1.91 favourites. New South Wales are $1.93 underdogs, with the line sitting at 0.5. I think I had a look at the odds quickly just before we jumped on the show, and I believe it may have just shifted to just straight $1.91 for either team here, so it's a real pick 'em out there. As for Queensland, Reece Walsh, he is good to go after the concussion he suffered in Game 1. Unchanged from the backs, though. Val Holmes remains at left centre after discussion throughout the week. The potential of swapping him and Hammer to Mark Latrell. Up front, it's the same pack as Game 1. Nanai is good to go after struggling with a quad injury throughout camp this week. Kafusi and Catewell join the bench for Queensland with much anticipated bench spot of Kurt Capewell and what his role will be when he takes the field. As for New South Wales, Dylan Edwards will make his debut at the fullback position. Latrell will make his return to the Origin arena at left centre, which sees Stephen Crichton shift to the right. Mitch Moses, he'll partner Jerome Luai in the halves. Only one change up front though, that's Cam Murray into the lock position. Connor Watson joins the reserves for his Origin debut with Yao Hamoli and Lenu rounding out the side. Jordan, I turn it to you, mate. What do you think the difference is for New South Wales Game 2 squad as opposed to New South Wales Game 1 squad?
Well, I think we've made the right changes. If you look at the performance in that first game, I do like that Dylan Edwards comes in. I think James Tedesco, I want to say he almost looked like he was playing like he felt the pressure with some of his passing options out the back door of the shade. I know he was missing Suali'i, and a lot of those mishap passes were on that right side because Suali'i got sent off. But it still wasn't the best performance from him, and I want to see Dylan Edwards get an opportunity in that fullback position and show what he can do, because I think he's primed and ready for this opportunity. And it's time we just see this new blood and see some electricity around that ruck and some work rate from Dylan Edwards to go into the territory-based style that New South Wales Blues is looking to play with. I love that they've brought Moses in. I will get back. I will get into his impact a little bit more later on as we're discussing it. But I think he fixes a lot of the gaps that Hines was kind of lacking in that first game and showing us for New South Wales Blues. So I love Moses and the skills that he can bring and the experience he has at this level playing well. So Moses coming in is good for me. I like Cam Murray coming in for Cam McInnes because to me, even though Cam McInnes is a really hard worker on defense, he almost seems Cam Murray is like a Cam McInnes plus. So we're getting Cam plus one there for me. So I love that change. And then Connor Watson, we gave the bench in the first game so much shit about how it was structured and how confusing it was to have it structured the way it was with about 4 forwards on there. But Connor Watson comes in and adds a little versatility to that bench, and it fixes a lot more question marks we have if there were to be injuries and stuff like that. So I love Connor Watson coming onto the bench. I think it's more structured. I think it's good to give Reece Robson a break because although he played fantastic, he was working very hard in there, and you'll be able to get the most effectiveness out of Reece Robson if he is fresh when he's on the field and able to, keep his eyes up and take little snipes when the markers aren't square. So I like the changes that New South Wales has made, and I think it's going to make a big impact for us.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The addition of Mitchell Moses out there, his kicking game alone will be fantastic. But he's a half that takes on the line and he'll put a game on his shoulders as well. We see that with him with the Parramatta Eels each week. If it's not going their way, the running game comes out for him and he plays a lot on the top as well. It is kind of similar, I guess, to Nathan Cleary's game where he'll adapt and change things from there. And for me, the big one is Latrell Mitchell. I would have liked to have seen them potentially even pull trigger on him in game 1. They obviously need to in game 2. It's a all or nothing, and we don't want to be coming away from this thinking, what if we didn't select? What if we had selected Latrell in this one? And out on there, that left edge, I think he's going to run an absolute muck over Valentine Holmes. And in Origin, man, he's a different beast. And this is Latrell that looks like he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's ready to really take this one by storm. And I'm really excited, especially everything that I've seen from him throughout the week. It's starting to build, man, and the tension is there. Where do you think that this game will be won or lost for either team?
Well, I've got a few ways that I've broken down this game into things that Queensland did well last time that they'll no doubt just take through into this game and continue to do for themselves. And then things that New South Wales did well last time, but then things that they may be able to change in order to turn this result, because there is a lot of things they did wrong last time that can turn this result back in their favour. So I'll start off with Queensland, but firstly, a little asterisk, because obviously this game was marred by a Suwali 8th minute send-off, which left them 12 versus 13. So it was always an uphill battle for New South Wales, but I think Queensland did really well doing what they needed to do. They really exposed that New South Wales right side without Suwali'i, constantly attacking that side, constantly threatening the line with Dearden, going round and really pushing those edges. Hamiso Tuapawai was getting into space and following up any line break that ever occurred down that left side, right side for New South Wales. So I really like what Queensland did, just attacking what was in front of them. They had fast play of the ball, strong carries from all their forwards, and Cobbo was really getting over the ad line when he carried the ball as well. And they were usually getting to their fronts, and that led to the fast play of the balls that helped Queensland dominate the territory that they did through portions of that game. And then once again, we said it would be a factor in that first game when we broke it down, but DCE's deep kicking to control territory was absolutely fantastic in that game. Always getting a good clearance if the sets were a bit dodgy and they weren't getting past 30 meters by the end of the set. He would send one down there right back into New South Wales territory. And although we've got some good carriers, we really had to work hard to get it out of that territory. So Queensland, I think they can just really do that again, stick to that same sort of policy, stick to those same sort of policies that they were applying in that first game. I don't think we're going to see too much changes for them. It's going to be a little harder to pick spaces where they will expose us, because we're going to have 13 men, obviously. But I think with Reece Walsh coming back, he is really good at threatening lines and finding weak points that he can attack. So they're going to do the same thing to me.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on those points. For me, where this game will be won or lost, For me, it's going to be the fullback position and how either fullback plays their hand with their squad. Obviously, we saw what Hammer bought for Queensland when he shifted out the back there. But what we were a little bit concerned about with Reece Walsh was if he was going to overplay his hand a little bit too much in this, or how that gameplay was going to go. And for New South Wales this time around, we know where the points are going to come. I'm a lot more comfortable with Mitch Moses out there and how he's going to steer the ship. We've got a game breaker out in Latrell Mitchell out on that left side, and we know that if Luai does get that ball to him, that's where points will come on that left edge. But it's going to be the swing play of Dylan Edwards and how he sort of manages to link either Mitch Moses or link between Mitchell Moses and Jerome Luai running out the back there, and how those sides, because I don't want to be seeing that left side, right side attack, and I don't think that's going to be what we see. So it's how he's going to be sweeping around there. So for me, it's going to be the fullback positions that will determine how this game goes. If Reece Walsh is going to overplay his hand too much, throw those risky cutout balls on that left edge where Stephen Crichton might pick one off, or if he sort of plays within himself and waits for those moments to go. And then Dylan Edwards, we know safe as houses every single week for the Penrith Panthers, but Origin is a pressure cooker, different kind of game. How's he going to react to everything in this one, and how's he going to be that connection between each half and allow that attack to flow for New South Wales? So for me, that's where it's going to be won or lost, I think, for either team. Obviously, he's on debut as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how he goes. And then you look at the kicking game as well. It's fucking freezing out here in Melbourne. I believe this morning it was -1. We were out last night having a wander around the streets as well. It is cold out there. If you're taking a punt on this one, the unders bet is definitely the one. But I think the kicking game is going to be the one that makes or breaks it for each team. They've got a lot of powerhouse New South Wales to bring that out of the territory, but Daly Cherry Evans put on an absolute clinic in game one with his kicking. I don't think he can swing that big dick out there in terms of Nico Hines missing a 40-20 and hitting one back. Mitch Moses' kicking game is well up to scratch. So for me, fullbacks, kicking game, that's where it's going to be won or lost. Now turning to the key matchups, which matchups are you most excited about?
Sorry, I'll just finish up on what I think New South Wales, what they need to do to win this game. Because obviously, what we've pretty much covered off what they did good last time in the preview of the changes, but it was good exit yardage from the backs, and the interchange really came on, especially Spencer Leniu. He came on and had a huge impact. So, they didn't do a lot right, but there was some glimpses of some good things. And I think where this game will be won for New South Wales is changing a few of these key factors. Discipline, for me, their gameplay discipline was actually pretty good. They only gave up 2 penalties throughout the whole game. But obviously you can't afford to play at a man disadvantage at this level. And I do have some slight concerns over Latrell coming in, because he is a player who plays with very high intensity, and he can get caught up into those moments where, he can find himself sent off or in the sin bin. So that does worry me a little bit, but you can play with intensity and target players like they have been planning to do with Reece Walsh and stuff like that. But it just has to be done legally. So we got to keep our men on the field. I think discipline is very important. And although he was dealt a rough hand with Suwali getting red carded in the 8th minute, I think there is a lot that Nico Hines was doing that was wrong. And, he was picked for his X-factor ability from what he was doing with the Sharks. But with a man down, that is where we need to see that X-factor and for you to step up. And his playmaking ability just was very rudimentary and often just passing early and hitting the wrong runners. So I think Mitchell Moses coming in ticks some very good boxes in that department, because we've seen in his first Origin games that he has the confidence to take the ball to the line and to make plays when needed to make them. He is not afraid of the moment in that arena. And then also I think Nico's kicking was very poor execution-wise, especially in the strike zone. And then his kicks for territory were very basic, just short, barely contestable kicks that were helping Queensland start their sets on the 20 to 30 meter line. So I think Mitchell Moses comes in and he's got that long raking punt. He's a very good tactical kicker. He knows how to plug corners without making it go out or stay just in front of the end zone. So he is a very good tactical kicker. So I think that will be something that he will change and is a good tick for us to win this game. And then finally, last 2 points, tackling was also a little bit sketchy for my mind. Moses also ticks that box in terms of tackling for Nico Hines. But I think the defense needs to improve, because what I was seeing in that first half, especially from the New South Wales boys, is that we're only sending 2 defenders in, and they usually go low. Sorry, tacklers like Gerbo, McInnes, and Hines, and they peel off early, and it got Queensland some fast play of the balls. So I think looking at some of the stats from that game, I think we need to assert dominance like the Panthers sort of do on defense and send 3 to 4 defenders at carriers and slow them down a bit. Really teeter that line of a penalty because you need to slow that play of the ball down and you need to assert some dominance in the contact in that department because you look at the stats from the first game, Queensland don't typically throw offloads. They only threw 6 to New South Wales 14. So you can afford to send numbers into that tackle and slow that contact down. And, I think when they're getting through their working sets, they don't throw the offload. So that's where we won't get punished if we send some extra numbers. And they're good out the back, like getting half breaks with Cobbo and getting offloads like that. Dearden throws a good offload as well when he's half breaking. But when they're in their working sets, really send those numbers and really try to punish them with numbers in the tackle and stop them from getting those fast plays. So if we just change a few of those key things, I think we got it, dog. I've got a bit of confidence in this game. I think we can turn the result.
I like the positivity. I'm very positive as well. You know that across backhanded picks of slips that we have done post or pre the Origin game. Do you want to talk me through the key matchups that you're excited about, mate?
Yeah, there are a few key matchups in this game, man. Firstly, at fullback, I think we talked about it earlier, and you highlighted it beautifully in how they're going to win this game. It's 2 contrasting styles of fullbacks. You've got a really out the back attacking fullback in Reece Walsh, who likes to play behind shape and really threaten the line with his acceleration. And then you got Dylan Edwards, who just rolls his sleeves up. He does work. He takes it from the back, and he gets you 200 to 300 running meters every game. And he always threatens around the middle. And he even gets it in there and takes carries out of his own yardage on the 4th tackle to get a fast play of the ball and a good kickoff for his half. So it's a workman versus a show pony, and I love to see the matchup. So good contrasting styles there. And then another one, you brought it up earlier as well. I don't want to take all your picks, but Latrell Mitchell versus Valentine Holmes. I just want to see what it's like in this Origin arena. I want to see an angry Latrell Mitchell sending himself at Valentine Holmes and putting him under a lot of pressure. Valentine Holmes is a good player himself, but I think an angry Latrell Mitchell running down lines and really threatening the line with his size and speed can cause Queensland a whole lot of problems out there. So those are some of the matchups I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, I want to highlight that one again. Latrell Mitchell up against Valentine Holmes. It was discussed earlier throughout the week if we were actually going to see Hammer moved from that left position, that left centre position out onto the right edge. We saw what he did up against Tommy Turbo. I believe it was last year in Game 1. We were all worried about what the Hammer would actually bring to the Origin arena up against Turbo, which we all knew dominated the Origin arena. And so that sort of had me thinking, and it was discussed a lot, whether they were going to bring Hammer over there and put Val back on his preferred left centre position, which he plays obviously at Clubland, and link with Tommy Dearden. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like they're just going to stay with what they've got. But Latrell, man, we've all seen the highlight packages of what he can do at Origin with ball in hand. He's an absolute steamroller. So I think there's going to be a lot of traffic heading that way in that channel, especially between DCE and Nanai, who also has injury concerns at the moment. I think it's just going to be left. And Jerome Luai, you need to stop putting your pick and stick, step hot potato feet away in this one. We just want to see the ball fed out there on that edge. I think Angus Crichton's going to be in for an absolute barnstorming game, but the matchup is just going to be that left edge up against Queensland's right edge there, which I cannot wait to see. Is there anything that you wanted to touch on, mate, before we go through the stats that you need to know ahead of Game 2 and our best bets?
Nah, I've pretty much said it all, man. There's just some of those key changes that I'm hoping we can address to turn this result. And I can't wait for the stats because I feel like a lot of it points towards New South Wales. So I'm just quietly confident. I know I said that before Game 1, but I'm quietly confident heading into this Game 2.
Yeah, you're not wrong there. Let's get into it. The stats you need to know ahead of Origin Game 2. New South Wales have won their last 3 games in a row against Queensland at the MCG. 6 of the last 9 games have gone under the total match points line. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow has scored at least 1 try in his last 5 Origin games. In 5 of the last 6 Game 2 matches, the starting New South Wales left winger has scored a try. On the team sheet, it is listed as Zach Lomax, but it looks like Brian To'o will run out in that position. Latrell Mitchell has scored in each of his last 3 Origin matches. Whenever he plays in a series, New South Wales win. He's got a fantastic strike rate in Origin games as well, with head-to-head records. In 3 of the last 4 Origin matches, the starting right winger for Queensland has scored a try. And in 10 of the last 13 Origin series, the team that has lost Game 1 has covered the line in Game 2. It's 0.5 that line, mate, so it's all pointing towards a New South Wales victory in that one. We'll get into the best bets. We're going to keep it the same as what we did in the Game 1 preview. So we got a 3-leg multi backed up with a try score of Smokey. I'll kick it off with the 3-legger. My 3-legger multi in this one is Latrell Mitchell anytime. I think he's in for an absolute huge game in this one. I'm going to take Xavier Coates out on that right wing. He's Mr. Air, fantastic out there, up against Brian To'o, scored in Game 1. I think they'll be looking right edge in that one as well. If not to even exploit Latrell Mitchell defensively out there. It's been a while since he's played in the centre role. And I'm going to anchor that with New South Wales to win. I was going to take them on a line there, but I'm just going to stick to my guns. I think they win this one. And that will give you $11.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. I've got my picks here. I do not have the odds because I've come straight from work. I'm sorry for that. So I will get those odds to you and you can put them up on the page in due time. But I've gone the same with you with a couple of these. I've gone Latrell Mitchell, anytime try scorer, into New South Wales to cover a -6.5 line. And then I'm liking the total points overs in nowadays rugby league just because of the rule changes and stuff like that. I think history has made these lines go a little lower. So I am going to go total points over 40.5 to round out my 3-leg multi.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I feel like there's going to be a lot of people on Latrell Mitchell to score any time in this one. Latrell and the Hammer, it seems to be a popular one by the people. As for try scorer Smokies, I wanted to hit back on that Angus Crichton left edge one in that one. Not sure what it's paying, but I'm going to crank the smoke machine up a little bit more in this one. He's coming back into the Origin pack in the middle there. I'm going to take Cam Murray at $7.75. There's a lot of noise out on those edge positions. A lot of noise in the centres, obviously, as well. But I feel like he, with his footwork and maybe a little bit of craftsmanship around the ruck there, he might find himself just crashing over early or even on a backup play in that one. So I'm going Cam Murray, anytime try scorer at $7.75.
Yeah, I like that you've brought up Angus Crichton because I did have 2 again, but you didn't take him this time. So I'm going to go Angus Crichton. I think he's due a try in an Origin arena. I think he's a good option out there, as I do believe defensively that is Queensland's weaker side on their right. So I'm going to go Angus Crichton. I think he's a good smoky here.
Yeah, I'm glad that you took him in that one as well. I sort of baited it up for you. Don't say I didn't say don't tip him, because I wanted to take him in that one as well. I just wanted to take every New South Wales player to score a try, like any degenerate betting in this one. That concludes the State of Origin Game 2 preview. I hope we're not in for a dead rubber as we preview round 3 just around the corner. We all want to see a decider out at Queensland and see New South Wales do something that hasn't been done in a very, very, very long time. To round out the show, though, we're going to do our round 17 quick picks. I'm going to go through, I'll just list off who I'm going to be taking in this one. And Jordan, you can finish us up before we round it out. So Bulldogs take on the Sharks at Accor Stadium. I'm going to take the Doggies in that one. The Warriors take on the Broncos at Mount Smart. I'm going to back the Wires to get up there in their heritage jerseys. The Knights take on the Eels at McDonald Jones Stadium. I'm going to take the Eels in this one. I know Mitch Moses, hopefully he backs up after Origin, but I don't think they're a spoon team. Storm take on the Raiders at Amy Park. Melbourne Storm, they will win that one. I'll be there for that as well. The Dragons take on the Dolphins at Jubilee Stadium. No Juju in that one. Fins up. Panthers take on the Cowboys at Bluebet Stadium. I'm going to take the Panthers in that one. Roosters taking on the Tigers at Allianz Stadium. West, man, they're not going 3 in a row in that. Roosters win. Titans, Manly, and Souths obviously have the bye. Mate, quick picks, who are you up for?
Yeah, a few differences for me. I'm actually going to be... This is all pretty raw, though, to be honest.
Yeah.
This could change in a couple of days when the team lists come out. But as of first initial looks, I'm going to go the Sharks to beat the Bulldogs. Get a little bounce back there. Broncos to beat the Warriors. Eels to beat the Knights. Storm, I've got to win their game. Dolphins, I'm going to picked to beat the Dragons just based on the fact that they're underdogs. I saw there, so I'm going to take the Dolphins, who have been in more consistent form. Panthers to win their game as well, and then the Roosters to beat the Tigers to round up to finish the round.
Yeah, like we said, this is very, very early on. We haven't even seen team lists yet, but stay tuned on the pages. We'll put through our picks for the round along with our best bets. That concludes the State of Origin preview. I hope you enjoy Origin football wherever you are watching it. Like I said before, stay tuned on the socials. I'll be putting up stories of what it's like there and hopefully providing a little bit of content on some live videos from around the stadium afterwards. I hope New South Wales get up on that one because I want to head out and see what we can see or meet and greet afterwards as well. Nonetheless, though, that concludes us. We'll see you all next week. Peace.